All right, I'll start in three, two, one. Hello, and welcome to your week 3 video. So first off, congratulations. You have made it halfway through this program. So we want you to take a little time today and celebrate your successes. But also we want you to do a check-in. Notice how clean eating has impacted the way that you feel. We've been talking about this a lot. Also, notice your energy levels and moods. Has it impacted at all? And then we want you to get honest with yourself. What has been going well thus far in this program for you? And where could you bring your attention or your energy? Let me start that over. And then we want you to get honest with yourself. Ask yourself what has been going well thus far for this program, and where could you maybe turn your energy to improve other aspects. Remember that there's 3 pillars to this program. So the first pillar is clean eating, your second is reflection and mindfulness, and your third is movement. So are you meeting all of those goals? Give yourself a good, honest check-in and set an intention for the rest of this program. How do you want to show up for the next 2 weeks? Make sure you stay motivated. Ask for support when needed and connect with your accountability partner. All right, so we are moving on to pillar 2, and we're going to talk about mindfulness, meditation, and reflection. And we're going to get going on the presentation. I'm going to share my screen. So I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so let's talk about mind-body health. Now, we strongly believe that what you feed your mind is just as important as what you feed your belly. And I want you to stop for a moment and think about that. You've heard us say this many times, health is not a number on a scale. We believe that health is determined or a reflection of the quality of your energy and the quality of your inner. So as we move into pillar number 2 this week, we're going to start to bring some attention to where we can implement mindfulness into our lives. So think about it. Where could you bring a little more mindfulness, a little more awareness into your life? Maybe things like eating, or the quality of your inner dialogue, or maybe the conversations that you have with the people around you, or maybe your presence at work. And then mindfulness is also a practice, one that improves with practice, just like everything else. So how is that meditation practice going for you? So now ask yourself, what does mindfulness mean to you? Now, in the intro pack and right here on this slide, we have defined, as the dictionary will tell us, what mindfulness means to you. But again, where could you implement a little more mindfulness into your life? Okay, so in a sense, mindfulness is being present in the moment. Now, it is important to note that this choice, and again, it's a choice, is independent to the moment. And it's a choice that you make moment to moment, no matter what choice you made 5 minutes ago, 2 weeks ago, a year ago. And when we start to connect with mindfulness as a choice, it can be very empowering, or being present as a choice. It can be very empowering. So we talked a little bit about this in the intro pack, and I encourage you to go back and read the point or the piece on reflection. But let's highlight some of the pieces that we talked about in there. So we all have this constant chitter chatter that's happening in between our temples. And that's what makes us human. None of us are alone in this. And we like to give that chitter chatter the name of a movie screen. Now, it's important to start to realize that our thoughts are not true. A lot of times we really like to associate truth, our personality, who we are as an individual, to our thoughts. And we can prove that they're not true because they will take any side of the fence, any side of the argument, as long as they can keep going. And check out that intro pack for an example on that. So let's briefly talk about the science of stress. And we could go real deep on this, but we're just going to skim the surface. And I'm going to pause because my dog is barking. Hey, Rob! Rob! I'm recording. Sorry, we'll pause. Hey, guys. Sorry. I'm in the midst of recording. You're fine. No, it's ever. I can hear everything. Yeah, and they have to like edit it out. It's not live, so I'll be right back down. I'm like halfway through. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Can you edit? I really appreciate it. Okay, I'll start at the science of stress, right at the top of this slide. So now let's dive into the science of stress. And this is a topic that we could go really deep, but we're going to skim the surface and hopefully we'll make some connections between stress and the way that we digest our food. That's where things get real interesting. So, what is our nervous system? Well, essentially, our nervous system is our mechanism to control and receive messages. It's our communication system in our body. It sends and receives messages, and it also controls our thoughts and our movements. So, our nervous system is broken down into many pieces, but we're going to focus on the automatic nervous system. And it's important to note that this point of our system regulates things like digestion, heart rate, and respiratory rate. Now, this is where we want to remember these two pieces, the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. So our parasympathetic nervous system is our rest, digest, and calm. It's that peaceful state that our system will take us to. And then our sympathetic nervous system is our reaction to stress. So it's expansive energy, it's our flight and fight or maybe freeze response. It's how our body or our system keeps us safe in emergency situations. So we're going to keep it real simple here. Now, when we think sympathetic nervous system, we're going to think red zone, right? Safety from emergency. Green zone is our rest, peaceful state, and that's our parasympathetic nervous system. Another way that I like to remember it is parasympathetic starts with P, and so does peaceful. Okay, so our three main stress hormones are right in front of us. And what do these do? Well, norepinephrine is very similar to adrenaline. They have very similar qualities, and our system is set up so perfectly that it has two releases just in case one malfunctions. So, adrenaline is released from the adrenal glands and is responsible for that immediate reaction we feel to stress, right? It's our heart beating fast, our muscles tensing, our breath picking up, our chest breathing, maybe some sweating and some shaking. So norepinephrine, again, very similar to adrenaline. However, it is also responsible for shifting the blood flow from areas that at that moment we don't necessarily need to work on, like digestion and reproduction, and it moves it over into our muscles so that we can fight or flight. Now, cortisol is the stress hormone, which we don't necessarily feel an immediate reaction to. It's minutes after that cortisone starts to get released in emergency situation. And this helps to, again, move the blood flow away from the things that we don't necessarily need to be using and into more responsive areas of our body. So, when we have too much cortisone in our bloodstream, this can be responsible for increasing blood pressure, increasing blood sugar levels, decreasing our immune system and our functioning of our immunity. That's why when we are really stressed, we're more likely to catch a cold. And here's the one that I want you to focus on. When we are in a constant state of stress, it pulls away the energy from our digestive system. So our body isn't necessarily functioning, or our digestive system isn't necessarily functioning at its highest levels when we have a lot of stress hormone in our body. So I want you to just play with this food for thought here. What would change for you if you started to look at food as fuel? What of your habits would change if you started to look at food as fuel? So I want to just briefly touch on how perfect our system really is. Think about things like this. Why do you shiver automatically and don't have to think about it when you're cold? Or why does your fever spike when you're sick? Or why do you get, excuse me, your temperature spikes, and why do you get a fever when you're sick? Or how about when you have a cut? You don't have to look at the cut and say, okay, cut, start healing. It just does it naturally. So, this nervous system is responsible for all those reactions, and it really has gotten us to where we are as humanity. It has saved us from the tribe coming over back in the day, or running from the lion when appropriate. It is our mechanism that keeps us safe. So often stress gets a super bad rap. However, we need stress in our lives, and it's really not all bad. It's just our relationship to stress that we want to start to look at. And the more that we can come in tune with the perfection of our system, the more we can awaken to this truth and, in a sense, step up and care for ourselves, right? And give ourselves healthy, high quality foods, take part in self care, exercise, and relaxation. And this is, again, knowledge is power for us to make good choices. All right, now let's talk about our fuel, and then we're going to pull it all together. So, our body, we essentially digest either carbohydrates, sugar, fat, or protein. And our body prefers to burn glucose as fuel. And glucose is found in carbohydrates, in vegetables, and fruit, and pretty much all the foods that we eat. It's the sugar source inside the food. And our body prefers to burn glucose. And that's its fast burning fuel. Then next, our slow burning fuel is fat. And those are long chains of carbon atoms, and it's a slower burning fuel. So our body won't necessarily pick it when we need it quickly, but we will pick it when we slow down. And then last is protein. And if we're burning protein, we are truly in a starvation state. So we do not want to burn protein. We want to convert protein, break it down, and turn it into glucose so we can burn it then. So I want you to take a moment, and you're welcome to pause this webinar and write down what your top 3 stressors are. What are they? Now, it's important to note that the way that stress comes into our lives is very different than it used to when we were fighting tribes or running from lions, to use those examples once again. Most of the time, stress comes into our life either through an email, a phone call, or a conversation. And when those stress hormones are released, we don't necessarily use our body in motion to release them. So that's important to notice where our stressors are and how they very much so differ than the way that they came back in the day. So I like to always say when you feel the stress hormone release and you've gotten yourself through through it by creating a safe space for whatever that is, to try to shake off your body, shake it out so that you can release those stress hormones, or give yourself a walk or a quick meditation. Do something to click off the system. All right, so this is where we're going to hopefully bring it all together, and I might have already clued into it. So, when we are in our red zone, our fight and flight, we are chest breathing. Now, when we are in our red zone, do you think your body is going to be burning a slow or fast burning fuel? Well, obviously, it's going to reach for the fast burning fuel because it needs it to protect yourself. So, when we are in a stressful state, when stress hormones are being released in our body, we are only burning glucose or sugar. Now, when we are in that green state, that peaceful belly breathing state, what do you think your body can reach for? Well, this is when our body can start to burn fat. And then, really important to note, so when our glucose tank is two-thirds empty, it sends off an alarm and it says, uh-oh, we are in a danger zone. For if there were an emergency, we wouldn't have a lot of fuel to grab and burn. So that's when it starts to crave sugar. So when we're really stressed out, have you ever noticed that you're reaching for the sugar or the caffeine more? Well, it's because it's your body saying, hey, we need more energy because we're using it. And your body doesn't know if you're running from a lion or if you're answering emails. All right, so again, the perfection of our system. We truly have an on off switch that accesses our nervous system. It's completely amazing at how simple we can break this down. If we are belly breathing, it is impossible that we are in the red zone. We are absolutely in the green zone. And I encourage you to test this out this week. Start to notice after that stressful conversation, where are you breathing? After that yoga class, where are you breathing? Or after your meditation, where are you breathing? So take time throughout your day to make it a habit, check in and belly breathe. If you've ever seen a baby sleeping, they're always belly breathing. It's really peaceful and beautiful to watch, actually. So I encourage you to start to make this a habit. Check in and notice when you're belly breathing. Or after that stressful moment, close your eyes, bring your hands to your belly, and start belly breathing. Turn off your system. The more that we practice this, either through meditation, through yoga, or just conscious belly breathing, the more the system will turn off more naturally. So it's trained to flip the switch quickly after the stressful situation. So ask yourself, how can you make time to belly breathe? In the email, there's a couple suggestions to start to carve out time. All right, that's a wrap for your week 3 video. And again, we're moving our focus this week into mindfulness, integrating it into all pieces of our life, whether it's getting on that meditation cushion, sitting and carving out time, or bringing more mindfulness into conversations, or maybe into your eating habits. So, have a great week. Happy Monday. Stay motivated as we move into week 3, and check in with yourself. All right, we look forward to hearing from you either through email or on the Facebook group, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, guys.